What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. Show Me the Money Club, live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Sergio, what's going on? How you doing?
How you doing, buddy? Good. Trading my ass off, bro. Trading my
Nice.
ass off.
Yeah, the market's been going crazy,
Hey.
but we are here to talk about Uber and Lyft and what's going on. So let's go right into what our rundown is. And we have a couple of conversations. One, talking about billions are at stake for drivers in California
Mm-hmm.
versus Uber and Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to be talking about how to increase your Uber driving score, tips from CMT. We're going to be talking about advantage versus standard in California. And because Sergio now has it, of course, he's going to read the fine print. So we're going to find out something there. And then are Uber drivers worried about AVs? We also posted a poll about that. So we'll not only go over what the topic is, but the results of that so far. And if you'd like to take part in that poll, just go into our posts. It's a couple of posts down, and you can vote in that one as well. We're going to be talking about Uber investing $300 million in Lucid for AVs. We're going to be talking about Tesla Robotaxi expanding in Austin. We have the visual picture for everybody, so you can see. For those who are listening, well, you'll have to go to YouTube and watch it. And then how to successfully cherry pick in 2025, which is going to be the topic of our driver's corner. So how you can cherry pick in 25, even when there may not be any cherries.
Yeah. Well, no. There's cherries. If you pick it, there's cherries.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Cherry tree is a blossoming. And then, of
That's right.
course, we do have our Behind the Wheel series with Sergio as the host, and he interviews local drivers of all different shapes, sizes, and areas of, what works for them. So they might not be cherry pickers. They might be the biggest ant in the world, but if it works for them, it works for them. So,
Yeah.
Sergio, talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. Please email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. Would love to host you on one of these episodes. We have a great one coming up this week with our good friend Levi from Syracuse. And we'll have a good one coming up next week, which I'm recording this week, but which we like to stay ahead. I know a couple of you emailed me already. I'm a little behind in my emails. I will definitely respond. We will have you on as well, but the more the merrier. All you do is email me with a short paragraph or what? Give me an idea of what you want to talk about, not your life story. And doesn't matter if you're a veteran, newbie, 2 trips, 200 trips, or 20,000 trips. We just want to have a conversation and put you on the channel and get your voice out. And I love doing these. So email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com.
Oh, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So we got a good show for you today. And of course, we'll just get right into the first topic, talking about how billions are at stake for drivers in California. Sergio, what is going on here? What the heck?
Okay. Well, we talked about this when we had Nicole Moore on. Remember Nicole Moore of RDU? I think it was like 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, March sometime,
He's
something
right
like
in that
that.
range. Yep.
Right. So Nicole is the president of RDU, Rideshare Drivers United, or LA-based entity. They're not exactly your typical union like SEIU or things like that, but they're pretty strong. And what they had done is they had, with the California Labor Commissioner, they had filed wage claims. 5,000 drivers that are members of RDU did this. Then they took it seriously, the politicians and the government entities. And we're at the stage of settlement negotiations with Uber and Lyft. Basically, if you drove between 2016 and 2020 for Uber until they spent, not just Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, all of these, $230 million of their money to pass Prop 22. But before then, we had something called AB5, which codified every driver as these companies' employees. So the wage claims, 5,000 strong, they were approved, and they said, yep, all drivers who drove full-time, part-time, doesn't matter, up to 250,000 drivers, which I was one, full-time driver actually. So I want my money. I cannot say too much about the settlement because it's kind of private. So it's the California Attorney General, the city attorney of San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco are in negotiations, very heavy negotiations with Uber and Lyft for a settlement talks. I keep in touch with Nicole. I offered my help because Uber and Lyft are going to come back with some ridiculous number. As much as we appreciate the politicians doing good work, they don't know the business. I offered my help, said free help. I want to be in the room because I know the rebuttal for everything Uber and Lyft are going to come with to lower the bill. But this will ultimately go as the largest settlement. At the moment, the estimates are 1.3 to 1.5 billion dollars with a B,
Ooh.
folks. And it's material. And I said I want to be in the room, so I'm waiting to hear from them virtually or personally, whatever. I'm willing to just go sit there and negotiate for drivers, so that the politicians, the Uber and Lyft don't, what do you call that? Draw the wool on their eye or politician's eye, right? So all I know is there's serious conversations going on. Now, if the negotiations fall apart, this will go to court. This will go to trial next year. But as we all know, Uber has never gone to trial, ever, about any subject. They drag it in courts and then they settle. But yeah, that's the latest news. And I'm going to talk to Nicole again. Maybe we'll have her on when the negotiations are at a level that she can talk about it. But yeah, I'm curiously waiting to hear from them, or if they need my help or whatever it is. I'm definitely going to try to do my best to get the drivers the best deal, as opposed to cutting some corners of what Uber and Lyft are offering. So yeah, it's a lot
They
of money,
they
and
surely would not want me in the room because I would just be like, what do all drivers need to be paid specifically, like, to make a perfect amends? Because that is where I am at. You are not getting a penny less. You are going to be paying full amount, and I don't give a shit what you have to say. That's
yeah, no,
exactly where
I that's my attitude, Chris. That's my attitude. And the thing is, all these drivers who drove from 2016 to 2020, we're talking about getting treated like an employee, and the expenses, the online hours that they were not paid for. As we know, there is online hours and there is hocus pocus active hours. This goes back to online hours, overtime pay. All these things are included in this settlement and negotiations, and that's why it's going to run into billions. And I want drivers to get the money, and I want to
Yep.
get my money. I mean, hey, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the whole thing. There should be no settlement. It should be, this is the price that you fucked up on, and this is the price you have to pay. One for one. There's no backpedaling. No, oh, we'll do. We were supposed to give $2 billion to drivers, but we'll come back with 350 million. We'll give that to no. It's 100% of the pay that you owe because you fucked up. You decided not to do that. So they
Yeah.
wouldn't want me in there because I would just lay down the hammer and do exactly that.
Well, it's three city attorneys and the state attorney general, so we can't go. You can't go more than that. So if otherwise, I would have said Uber and Lyft, they're going to overmatch legally. They have legal power. They're going to pay for the best lawyers, this and that. But we're dealing with state attorney general and three city attorney offices. So the firepower is pretty equal. I just want to make sure that when Uber and Lyft come with an offer, we have something to say, as far as, because look, the politicians don't know. They're not drivers. They don't know the business. They don't know how it works. At least educate the politicians, for them to go back and saying, hey, go F yourself, this is not enough. You need to come clean and do the right thing, or whatever it is. But anyway, so that's where that news is. We will keep you posted. When the time is up, we'll have Nicole on again so she can talk about it. But my hat's off to Rideshare Drivers United, guys and gals. Without their 5,000 strong wage claims with the labor board, this would not have gone anywhere. and they persisted. They stayed strong, and it's not just them 5,000, or they're going to get more than other drivers. This is everybody who drove between 2016 and 2020, and estimates are 250 to 300,000 drivers. So you don't have to do anything now. Don't email me, please. Please don't email me. Please don't. Please don't.
Where to sign up, Sergio? Where to sign up?
No,
Tell me.
no,
Tell
no, no,
me.
no. This is not a class action lawsuit. This is none of that stuff. This is just a pure settlement, and then if you drove those times, you will get money. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about your Uber driving score. These are from CMT.
Yay!
They want
I'm going
to
to get
tell
my
you
driving score.
increase.
I'm
There's a
going to get
reason
it.
why you want to have a high driving score, though. There's absolutely a reason.
To be advantage, man. I want to be advantage driver.
No, you don't even need, no, not even that. Do you think, I mean, we all know they're throttling drivers, no matter how you want to slice the cake. They're throttling drivers where they see fit. Maybe for specific reasons. I'm not even going to get into that now. But when it comes down to it, have a good CMT score. Why? Because they can easily say anybody who has a low CMT score is going to get less ride requests and is going to make less overall because they drive stupidly. Whether
Yes.
CMT is accurate or not, that's a different discussion. But I am definitely going to say if you can get your CMT score higher than what it currently may be, do what you can in order to do that, because you will probably thank me later, because you will probably get better requests coming in. And whether you have advantage or standard in your area or not, I'm sure they are doing it because it's going to come down to one simple factor, and that is cutting the insurance costs and doing what they can there.
Yeah, for sure. But this one is to be my app, because of as of the 23rd, as of tomorrow, we have advantage versus standard. Chris, guess
Oh, I
what's
thought
going to
that came
happen,
in on the
Chris?
20th.
What do you think is going to happen, Chris? Huh?
You are going to be denied advantage. You're going to be a standard driver.
We don't have acceptance rate, so I'm automatically going to be advantage because my rating is there, my cancellation is there, and my CMT is there at the moment.
Mhm.
So it goes, hey, Sergio, the new Driving Insights dashboard provides you with useful information about your driving. I get it. However, I'm also getting emails, Chris, from a lot of drivers around the country who already had advantage versus standard tied into with the CMT scores, that CMT's speed limits recorded on their app or whatever it is not accurate, or it's old,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's throwing out saying that you're going too fast. Well, a lot of people are saying we're not going fast, we're going the speed limit, but they haven't updated it. So CMT, update your database or update whatever you need to update so that you don't throw out these false flags on drivers and tank their driving scores. You know what I'm saying? So speeding is dangerous for you and riders. Absolutely. Look, I drive. I mean, I drive like a grandmother when I'm driving passengers. You know what I'm saying? Period.
I
You know,
drive like I'm an F1 driver.
yeah, I can. I'm you Mario Andretti right here. So I was like, data from your recent trips
And
indicate.
I'll be like Dale Earnhardt, if you don't tell me, or if you keep telling me how to drive, I'll just put your ass right into the wall.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then if you do that, Chris, you're going to get this email. Data from your recent trips indicates that you may have been speeding, sir. Your safety is our priority. One of our 3 roadway deaths involves speeding, according to the Governor's Highway Safety Association. Driving within the speed limit can help prevent. We did a great interview with a young driver. I think it was from Connecticut. Remember, it was like a month and a half ago. He had 100%,
Oh
100%.
yeah,
He had
yeah, yep.
that did like so well, and he says he gave some great tips. So go check out that video on Behind the Wheel. He was on. I'm telling you, you guys can learn from a young one there. And then the next one, it says you're new driving, so that part. But this is the part that kind of is like an oxymoron, right? Stay focused on the road, not your screen. So how do I do
Mm.
that when you're pinging me with all kinds of bullshit when I'm driving?
Ding. We've also noticed that you are touching your phone too much, and we
Yeah.
noticed that you are driving while touching your phone. Dude, you're the one who's sending me these requests, so screw off.
You're the one that's sending me trip radar. So I was like,
Yeah.
so use the dashboard to see driving habits. So consider using phone mount and placing your phone at eye level. Okay. Even when connected to your car screen. This helps your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. And so this is how you increase your CMT driving score. So you can be advantage and get that extra 5% cheese. Uh, You'll need to have driving insight score of 75 or higher. This is in California, advantage mode, and it will be launched tomorrow. And I'm
Uh-oh.
definitely going to TEST that one. Uh, your driving habits may clear your driving insight score, powered by Cambridge Mobile Telematics. So, okay, so CMT, fix the speed limit thing, because your speed limit, a lot of drivers say they're not accurate. So actually, we will email CMT and tell them about that, and be gentle on the brakes. Now, if you're driving an EV and you have that, what do you call that thing? The
Regenerative braking.
regenerative braking. I don't know. Maybe you should take it off and actually brake as opposed to using the regenerative braking, because that thing is pretty harsh. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I would put a little sticker in the back that says, I don't brake hard, my regenerative braking does,
Good
or
idea,
something.
actually. Actually, that's
I
a pretty good
mean,
damn
just to
idea.
let them
Yeah.
know what's going on, but yeah.
Well, they know they're in an EV. Well, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't gonna. I mean, the average normie is not gonna know, the difference between an EV, how it drives, and
Yeah,
not. I
that's
mean, they may ask questions and say, "Oh, hey, this is an EV. What's the range? Do you feel, that you're gonna run out of miles or anything like that?" I'm sure is gonna be probably the majority of conversations, but they're not
that's
gonna be like, "Oh, what's going on with this braking?" They might just think you drive like an asshole.
yeah. No, that's true. A lot of people who drive Teslas complain about that. The riders, anyway, they go like, "Oh, this is harsh braking." I'm like,
See,
but
I drive stick, so I'm like, "Look, when the turbo boosts, you're gonna be in the back seat, so just so you know."
there are commercials like that now. There are like kids like sitting, and then with the Tesla, what do you call that thing? The Model S, that crazy one, that goes two
Plaid.
seconds. Plaid, yeah. They're just like stuck on the seat until the guy lets go of the accelerator, and then they sit down. Otherwise, they're stuck on the seat. That must be some sort of ride, bro. I'm telling you, shit.
Any way to opt out? I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
signed Uber's TOS in order to drive, so you're already opted in.
No, hold on. It's
That's the way they
serious.
got
So Daniel, I sent your request. Uh, I got it. Obviously, I sent it to Uber, as is Daniel. I'm waiting to hear. If we don't hear, that means f off. If we do hear, or we're looking into it, then I'll keep you posted. Because Daniel wants to opt out, which, because on the by the way, on the CMT website, you can opt out. It says you can opt out. And Daniel has a good point. And by the way, don't mess with Daniel. Daniel is a data scientist, going to be a data scientist or a PhD in data science. So he's no dummy. So whatever
Yeah,
Daniel
but that's
says, take
that's how
it.
they get you because it'll just be tied into, the Uber
Yeah, but
TOS, and
but
in
I
order to
I
use Uber, you gotta opt in, so,
automatically mean.
100% that's exactly how they're gonna do it, so,
So,
you could be a data scientist for all you want. They're gonna find the legalese to make it
well,
happen.
no, I get that, but all he's saying that if you're using
It'd be great to
CMT and
opt out.
CMT allows me to opt out, then I should be able to opt out. That's what he's saying, which I agree with
No,
that.
I agree with that. I agree that you should be able to opt out, but the
Yeah,
reality is that's what's gonna end up happening.
that's the difference
They're
to
gonna they're
Uber
gonna they're
reality
gonna sneak
versus
it in there.
reality. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I sent it, Daniel. I sent it to Uber, and I haven't heard anything yet. Maybe you'll hear it. I don't know, but I haven't. So I'll let you know. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, either way, let's move on. Let's talk about Advantage versus Standard coming to more markets, including your
Moi,
market of LA and
moi.
some
Mm.
tests. Me, on the other hand, still don't have it, don't want it, don't need it.
Well,
5% of
look,
nothing is nothing.
obviously this worked for them. You remember when we first announced this like a year ago,
Yeah.
right? And then it must have worked. But then the California version, folks, is a little different. We don't have any AR restrictions on this like you guys do.
Yep.
I mean, although not that the AR restrictions that you guys have, which was I think is 25%, is that high. I mean, I get it. Some of you are like zero. I get it. That's your badge of honor. Have zero AR. But I mean, how are
Well, I
you
mean, if
making
they're
money if you
offering
have
you
zero?
the same trip 18 times and it's only paying you 41 cents a mile, come on.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to
that's how you
accept
go to
that. So that's
zero, I
going to
guess.
tank your AR.
Yeah, that's how you go to zero. Yeah.
And then there's
So,
just people who are just doing that on purpose.
well, no, no. We're not doing any of this in purpose, Uber. We're just
No,
those
no, no.
fares
I'm
suck.
saying like there's drivers who are just, oh, that's coming in, deny, deny, deny. Oh, look, I got a 2%.
Yeah. Well, mine. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to put it out. My AR is 24% at the moment,
Uh-oh.
and my CR is 1% because when I accept, I finish that freaking trip. Okay. And because otherwise, I'm not going to accept 24
Yeah.
1, and
Yeah,
my
I'm the same
rating.
way. If I'm gonna accept something, I'm gonna take it. The only way I
Yeah.
won't is if it's too
Yeah.
many people, underage or, kid without a car seat, like those
Yeah.
types of things.
Yeah.
Something
That
that's
kind of
going to
thing.
pose a serious safety risk or is illegal that they're trying to do, then at that point I cancel. But
Yeah.
other than that,
So
yeah, if I'm gonna accept the ride, I take it.
yeah, no, me too. And I do the same thing with Uber Eats when I do Uber Eats, right? I mean, anyway, but the cancellation, so the threshold in California is cancellation of 8%, which is pretty easy. I mean, what are you guys doing if you're canceling 8% of the time? Now this may be
I
hurt
I
some
know what they're
drivers.
doing if they're doing 8% cancellation rate, and you'd probably know exactly what they're doing too.
Absolutely, yeah. And but the star rating, is pretty high, 485. I don't know. Mine is
Mm.
496. And driving score 75 or more. Um, yeah, I think I'm okay on this one. So, however, there is something that I caught, and I tweeted
Fine.
this out, and I said, read the small print, and I highlighted it. Now, it is too damn small for my glasses, Chris. You need to read what I highlighted.
You want just the highlight or you want the whole thing?
It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Maybe for context purposes, you should just maybe a couple of sentences before and a couple of sentences after or something.
I'll just read number 2, period.
Okay,
So
read.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4 little, you know, caveats that they have there. We'll read 2 because 2 is the one where it's highlighted. So it says available only to drivers taking eligible non-premium rides in Advantage mode, commute delivery trips such as Uber Eats and Uber Connect, hourly taxi, Uber Black, Uber Black SUV, Uber Premier SUV, and Uber Reserve trips are not eligible for 5% additional Advantage mode earnings. The 5% additional Advantage mode earnings is calculated on a per trip basis, and certain earnings, such as Quest promotions, tips, wait time fees, cancel fees, tolls, and other third party fees, and operational expenses, as stated on your receipt, are not included in the calculation. Advantage mode earnings will be included in the calculation for any additional earnings to be provided under any applicable minimum earnings guarantees. Here's the part that is highlighted. Uber does not guarantee drivers will experience higher earnings than earnings received prior to the launch of Advantage mode. Let me read that again.
Yeah.
Uber does not guarantee drivers will experience higher earnings than earnings received prior to the launch of Advantage mode. What do you think that means? Put it in the comments. Let us know. But just to give you a little bit more, additional earnings while in Advantage mode will be shown as a separate payout on the trip receipt and weekly earnings statement, and is in comparison to eligible earnings that the driver in standard mode would earn for the same trip.
Okay. What do you think of the highlighted part?
I think they are going, as I said before, I think they are going to give drivers a lovely 5% discount when it comes to pay. So that means you got a 5% pay cut. And for those who are in Advantage mode, hey, guess what? You're making normal rate of what you were making before. So are you going to be making anything more? Nope. You're actually just going to be paid 5% less. You're saving yourself from 5% pay cut. Let's call a spade a spade.
Does this sound? Actually, I just talked to Bloomberg yesterday. They watch one of our videos. Um,
Only
the
one.
shaving bonus video.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then how we busted him and it cost them millions and millions of dollars, and drivers got all this money, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So they go like, you're like a sleuth. I
Hey,
go,
man.
no, bro. I go, we chased their tails. We keep them on the ground. We don't fuck around. So anyway, so they're doing an article about that. Doesn't
Hey,
this
hey,
sound
hey.
exactly
This
like that?
channel is controlled opposition. I want my money trucks. So shut the
Fuck. Okay. So
Somebody put it in the
doesn't this,
comments. Okay, everything is a fucking conspiracy. Whoop de
don't
fucking
cuss,
do.
Chris. No cussing today. No cussing.
Oh, I already screwed that. Who cares?
So doesn't this highlighted section sound exactly like that EV shaving thing? Oh,
Yes.
you're gonna get a dollar, but until Chris and Serge find out that you're not getting a dollar, we'll give it to you later. This sounds exactly like that. It goes, I can't read. Uber does not guarantee drivers will experience high. They don't guarantee, but they're telling you that you're gonna get 5%. First of all, Uber,
Oh.
5% over what? That's number one question. Number two question is, you stuck this in the little small print there, but I caught it.
And
You know, I
you know
read
what I need
every
to
goddamn
to
fucking
do?
thing.
I need to
What does
update
that
this.
mean? Like,
I
we
need
don't
to update
guarantee
these
it, but you're going to get
screenshots.
5% anyway.
I need to update this. Introduce instead of advantage and standard mode, it's got to be normal rate mode and pay cut mode.
Okay, I'll take that.
That's what it's got to be because as pay cut mode or AKA standard mode, you're just making 5% less than what you were making before this kicks in.
You know, the other thing that little birdies tell me, Chris, before they introduce this advantage versus standard mode, they come into the city and cut the fares by 5%, boil the frog slowly kind of a little thing. And then they make
Mhm.
it look like they're giving you the extra 5%. What do you think about that? Do you think that's happening?
That's called boiling the frog slowly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be up in arms saying, "Oh, I can't believe they just cut my pay again."
Yeah. 5% over what?
Any way you squeeze driver pay, 100%. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think they
that's
go
why
into
they're
the
rolling this
city.
out in different markets because all it is going to do is say, "Oh, you're gonna be in normal pay mode, and then you're gonna be in pay cut mode. Which one
Yeah.
do you wanna
Well,
be in?"
I was like very curious about this. So Uber, take a screenshot of this and send me an email. Like, what does that mean? First of all, 5% over what? Because we don't have a rate card and this. Like what, so you get the 5%, but it's not a guarantee we get a 5%. I'm not sure, Uber. This looks fishy, smells fishy to me. This smells very fishy. So we're gonna do the test,
Well,
and we're gonna find out.
you know the saying, "If it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's a duck."
Okay. Well, we're gonna find out how big the duck is, bro. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, we're gonna have to do the TST just to figure out whether it's truly the difference that they're saying between the two.
can you
But
spell more perfect union?
but but the other part of the TST that you got to do is a ride that comes in that's the exact same ride, from a month ago, from 2 weeks ago, from a year ago, and put it in with the ride post tomorrow and
Oh, that
see
we
the
can do.
difference and pay for that. I
Yeah,
know
we
you
can
got
look.
all your
Look.
screenshots.
I actually can do that. I'll just go screen record today a bunch of trips, right? And then tomorrow kicks in, and then I can do that as well. But I just want to
No,
see.
no, no, you can't do that because
What?
they're already cutting the pay. They're going a percent each week, right?
Oh,
So they're
yeah,
boiling the frog slowly. So
gotcha.
LA, they announced it what, 5 weeks ago, I bet?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They could do, "Oh, today we're lowering the pay by a percent, then
yeah.
the next week we're doing by another percent, the next week we're doing by another percent." So that dollar ride that dollar per ride that you were getting, now it's down to 95 cents per ride,
That's true.
per dollar.
That's true.
So that's exactly what they're doing. So they're boiling the frog slowly, so it doesn't look like any change, but in reality,
Mm.
that's what I'm saying. You got all the screenshots from your rides, so go back a year from
Uh,
right around your house or a common ride that
yeah,
you've
yeah, yeah,
had, maybe
yeah.
going to LAX or something, and then check what the pay would be, a couple months ago, last
Okay.
month,
All right, we can do that.
2 weeks ago,
But
and then
but but more
after tomorrow.
importantly, I want to see this 5% difference. Like, I'm sure in the chat people are going like 0%, 5%, whatever. But it's not AR, so we need to find bunch of standard drivers maybe in couple of weeks to a month once this thing settles down a little bit. We'll find a bunch of standard drivers and a bunch of advantage drivers. And yeah, we'll do the TEST. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about, are you worried about AVs? So actually when
Better be.
Sergio had sent the
You better be.
well, to a point. But when Sergio sent the topic list for today over, I decided to put a poll up. So we'll discuss the poll. But an interesting article came out from BI, Business Insider, and it was by Alex Bitter saying Uber drivers aren't worried about the company's driverless car plans and who's going to handle tune-ups. So pretty interesting
Hey, look
article
who's here. Look
nonetheless.
who's here. Hold on. Look who's here. Look, look, look. The Iron Man of Boston right here. He's taking a vacation
Nice.
in Brazil.
Oh,
That's up.
nice.
Raphael. He's the man. He's the 3K man week after week. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
enjoy Brazil.
That's right.
I mean, it's their
Um,
winter, but enjoy.
yeah.
I'm sure it's
That's
still
right.
beautiful, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, man. He drives hard and plays hard. But so are you worried? Are you worried, Chris? That AVs are going to I
I
mean
am not worried about AVs because I'm gonna just put a fucking cone on it.
okay. So the Alex, good friend at BI, did this article, and he asked to talk to a bunch of drivers, and it seems like they're not worried as much. Now, I'm not worried as much either, but I am worried. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Well, look,
these people said Uber drivers aren't worried about companies' driverless car plans, and they said, who's going to handle the tune-ups? Drivers. These cars are EVs. They don't need tune-ups. However, I
well,
was talking to
you're
Chris
still
in the
gonna need
green room.
some. I mean, you're gonna need tires because EVs go through
Yeah,
tires much quicker.
yeah,
You're still gonna need to service the cars because they're gonna get banged up, dinged up, and all that stuff. But are you really gonna go from being a driver to a mechanic? I don't
yeah.
see the connection there.
No, I don't see it either. But
That's like
the
telling people to go learn to code. You know when that was real
before,
popular back? That's like the same exact, "Oh, go learn to code." Really?
yeah, but okay, you know what we were talking in the green room with you, right? We were talking about
Yep.
it before the show.
Mhm.
We're not going to say anything yet, but I'm working on something really, really interesting, and I want to do this before I quit. I really
I
do.
I definitely put that at the high end of interested for sure. So stay tuned
Yeah,
for that.
we will talk about that when I have more substantive information about that, because I think it will definitely benefit the driver community, definitely. So, but going back to this article, um, yeah, Uber, and so we did the poll. By the way, go respond to the poll. It's about this subject. Are you worried about AVs or not? Chris, I know for a fact this. Okay, so Tesla Robotaxi is testing in Austin.
Yep.
Waymo and Uber have a sweetheart deal in Austin. I have a few drivers in Austin that said business has collapsed for them. They're Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, and they are making 50% less because these Waymos and robotaxis are just zipping around, and the business has really truly collapsed. Now, it may be a little seasonal. It was middle of summer, Austin, whatever. But they're saying these are drivers that drove last year there as well in the middle of summer without these cars. And Waymo only supposedly has only 100 cars in Austin in a geofenced area. And they said, but they placed the cars in an area where all the trips are, where it surges and things like that. And they go like, we're dead, we're dead. So it is hurting their business just with 100 cars. Imagine more cars. So Uber's driverless car partnership with Lucid and Neuro, we're going to talk about that next topic. Ride-hailing drivers said Uber will need to address the technology's limitations and costs. Yeah, unit economics are not there yet, but they're definitely going to get there. And Uber is aiming to have autonomous vehicles in a U.S. city in 2026. Uber drivers are waiting to see the company's future driverless cars successfully dodge potholes before they start looking for new jobs. Listen, drivers, this is reality. This rideshare thing is not a career. Okay, that's why we always say prepare for your plan B, learn something else. I wrote a beautiful article. It's on our newsletter. Please go check it out. In fact, an article regarding this specific topic, how you can, you know, lessen the damage that's coming your way. I think Samantha is probably going to put that up sometime this week. And this is a real threat, folks. You can't just put your head in the sand and say, it's okay, nothing is going to happen. Maybe if you're in a rural area or something, but if you're in a, densely populated city center, these things are coming. But my plans are going to make you benefit from this. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do that. And Chris liked the idea, by the way. So,
Mhm.
so
Oh, I do.
yeah,
I think it's a great idea, but
yeah.
obviously, due to certain issues, you can't really
Not
say
listening
anything at the
in.
moment. So, I understand why, but when it comes down to it, yes, I think there is going to be some upset, in the near future, but for the average person in the average area, who's not in these, let's call them test markets right now. If you're not in these test markets, then I think you're going to have a little bit longer of a period to be able to, transition into something. For those where, they're already LA, um, being one, San Francisco, uh, Atlanta now coming on board, uh, Austin, all of these particular areas that are test markets, especially Austin,
Yeah,
you got to start looking like doing your pivoting immediately. What because you've got people who are testing it, so they're checking it out. The question is, will it become a self checkout lane, or will it be somebody who's there when it comes down to it? So um, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge the perception of what's going to happen. I think though the reality is, um, you know, probably the younger generation is going to be more easily um, making the switch versus millennial and older. I don't think they're going to be making the switch as quick. So I think that's going to help a little bit. But the reality is, as we said after Herbivore, you got to have another plan. You got to have maybe a couple of plans
yeah,
and just to make the transition easy. So then that way you could follow up on something that you enjoy. Follow your dreams. Follow. Revisit what it was. When you were a kid that you're like, oh, I really want to do this, and you never did it. Follow up on that, make it into a
yeah,
reality or something, and then you can slowly transition off of rideshare. Or, you could figure something else out. Who knows? Whatever it might be, you definitely want to be ahead of the curve in this particular situation. And then for the foreseeable future, as long as rideshare is relevant, you can always do it as part-time extra income on top of whatever you're trying to transition into. So you can definitely, do whatever you got to do in order to make things happen. But you don't want it, as Sergio said, you don't want to have your head in the sand when all of a sudden something happens and hey, look, we got 300 more cars coming in board and great. Now your uh, demand went down to 20%. Now you're making,
yeah,
for every $100 you were making, now you're only making $20.
yeah.
So,
No, I just checked actually on my phone. That article that I wrote is going to come out, but I wrote already one. It's on our blog. Please go check it out. How you can pivot, what you can do to pivot, and things like that, and suggestions. And please go check it out because look, a lot of people take it for granted until they lose it, and then business goes down, and all you do is complain. It's not going to get anywhere. And I understand this is your livelihood, but this train has left the station. This is going to happen, folks.
mhm.
And these things work 22 hours a day, and they're going to cut down on business. I mean, and that's just without the demand going down if we have a recession, slowdown, or whatever. But uh, you have to be prepared for it because, again, this is not a career. This rideshare driving is not a career.
No,
And
it's not.
but anyway,
It's
we're
not
going
a
to do
career
everything
unless
we
you
can.
make it a career, meaning, you do the transition to private rides as well. If
That
you're
Yeah,
able to do something like
definitely,
that,
definitely,
then and like I say, especially with the costs of these things, except for maybe the Robotaxi, but again, tests, so it's not going to stay at that for very long. But
yeah.
Waymo costs more, and
At the
Uber and
moment,
Lyft are already
yeah,
are at the breaking point for a lot of people. So again, like I've said the last few weeks, if you enjoy driving and you are personable and can create your own um, clientele, yeah, you probably could do a very good, successful business and make it a full-time hustle when it comes down to it. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of your priorities, what you need to do. But yeah, always make sure you're paying attention to what's going on, and don't be like, oh, hey, uh, I got plenty of time, because before you know it, you're gonna look back and be like, holy crap, and there they are.
Yeah. Technology is advancing fast with these things. They're getting better and better every day. And now, Elon threw his hat into the ring with, robotaxis in Austin. And those are just regular, Model Ys that they're doing trips with.
Mhm,
They're not the actual robotaxi that you guys saw maybe 6 months ago when he announced it with the two gull-wing doors and two seaters. Yeah, I mean, look, you guys need to, and again, this channel is going to go away. I'm pretty sure if they're all AVs, what are we going to do, right? One thing that I like though, Chris, is Lyft is at least optically trying to look right about this. They have a
mhm.
they're launching cars and autonomous vehicles in Atlanta this summer, and they have autonomous vehicle forum for drivers to get their feedback. But I think they're doing it the wrong way. I think what I'm thinking is going to really, really make sure the drivers who are willing to, are taken care of. So I don't want to say more than that, but Uber is not doing a thing about it. Nothing. They don't even talk about it. All they do is keep announcing these deals as if the drivers did
Mhm.
not exist for 12, 15 years on their platform and still pay the salaries of these people. But that's Uber though. Uber is a little bit more cutthroat than Lyft is. Lyft seems more human than Uber. So anyway, but that's where we are.
Yep. Well, either way, let's talk about Uber. Let's talk about how they're investing 300 million in Lucid for
Another
AVs,
300 million. Yeah, they're
or
doing
another. Yeah.
deal with Lucid and 6-year deal, 20,000 cars. You guys may not think it's a lot, but it's a lot. And obviously, so Lucid stock that morning got a bump. It went actually up 50% from 2 to 3. Shameless plug. I have a finance channel on YouTube at Sergio Avedian. Please go subscribe. You will learn a lot. We talked about that actually. And I have a chat group that I run on the channel. You guys will learn a lot, and that could be your pivot. Learn to trade, learn to invest, and learn all these about finance. Learn about these things, and I'm doing it on the other channel. I don't do it here, obviously, but Lucid is the car manufacturer. Uber obviously has the network and the platform, and Neuro, they're going to run on the Neuro system, which is the autonomous vehicle hardware software part of it. And one thing to me, is so clear that Uber is doing it all over the globe, right? Uber is doing it with WeRide and Pony AI and now Lucid and Neuro. They have all these partnerships. They're just going all in into this autonomous vehicle thing because they sold their actual autonomous vehicle arm when Dara showed up because it was a money loser, draining money. But now they're scrambling to get in. And as much as people don't think, Waymos and Robotaxis, Teslas are a threat to Uber's existence, they are. They
Mhm,
definitely are. And so Uber is just scrambling to just get in the game. There were actually rumors um, about a couple of weeks ago that Travis is getting back in the game with Uber's help. They're going to buy Pony AI's US arm to launch their own brand of robotaxis. This part of it doesn't kind of make sense to me because one part of it, Chris, that I'm a finance guy, so I'm thinking about this. So Uber's business model for these 12, 14 years of their existence has been a zero asset business model, meaning you bring the tool to work. It's your car. They don't have depreciation. They don't have maintenance costs. They don't have financing costs. They don't have insurance costs. They don't have any of that. You drivers were bringing your tool to work. Well, now the business model is changing from a zero asset business model to a vertically integrated business model, meaning you own the asset now. Now, now, Uber, you're going to feel like what we're feeling as drivers. Okay. Now you're going to own the asset. Now you have to clean it. Now you have to service it. Now you have to charge it. Now you have to buy insurance on it. Now you have to do all these things. And this shift in the business model, I don't know. I haven't decided if it's going to totally fuck up Uber or help Uber. But my thought process is changing a business model that has worked for them to get them to be a $180 billion market cap company. The threat is real for Uber. I mean, I'm talking to a few analysts, and I do some calls with them, and they're saying like, "What do you think is going to happen here?" I go, "I'm not sure yet, but now the business model is changing, and that could be detrimental to Uber because Uber has no cost, no car cost. They have other costs. They have 33,000 employees, overpaid ones. They have AWS servers. They have the brand and this and that, but." Now they're going to own cars, billions and billions of dollars worth of cars, because to create the same amount of density, you need inventory, you need cars. They never own a car until today. So, what do you think, Chris? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think it's them scrambling because the writing's on the wall. When it comes to what we've talked about with passengers, paying a premium and
Yeah,
starting to jump ship. I also see that Waymo is, taking leaps and bounds, and they need them right now. Like Waymo needs Uber right now, but pretty soon they're not going to need them and they're going to outgrow them. And the moment that happens, they're going to shut them like yesterday's business. And I'm not going to say anything more with that part. But then you have Tesla coming in and, the Robotaxi, which Elon has been talking about that for years now at this point. So I really think, though, that he's going to be looking at more fleet based or, personal ownership cars. You might have like taxis and stuff like that, where it's going to be the whole. But how he's going to roll it out, who knows what's exactly going to happen there. But yeah, I think if Uber doesn't shape up, they're going to be just writing on the wall at that point. And exactly what Blockbuster was to Netflix, and
yeah,
exactly what the taxi cab industry, which is tried holding on as long as it could, and they kind of made a little bit of a comeback overall because taxis are now cheaper than Uber and Lyft. So I think that Uber, with their infinite wisdom, let's say it, I
yeah,
don't think they're going to be too kindly with this when it comes to if they can't get in board and make the transition happen. I don't think they're going to be doing well much after that.
yeah. And the Lucid cars, I mean, Lucids are not cheap cars, right? It kind of did not make sense to get in bed with Lucid, but they're scrambling, man. And again, you're going to say, oh, 6 years, 20,000 cars, not that many cars. Well, every car can do up to probably 30 trips a day, maybe more, because they don't have the 12-hour clock that drivers have, human drivers have. It's going to take away some business. I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. But this combination kind of did not make sense to me. It seemed like spaghetti to the wall, the usual. Let's see which one sticks. Lucids are not cheap cars. Lucids are unless they're going to build a car
How
from scratch
much?
for Uber.
How much are they?
100
Or
grand,
like what's
100 grand, bro.
okay? So it's
They're
pretty much the
expensive.
same thing as a Waymo.
Yeah, yeah, they're expensive cars. But anyway, so
And then yeah,
look,
you're going to have a massive depreciating asset.
massive. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? Zero asset business model to this business model, right? I mean,
You're gonna have a massive unlike, Tesla, who's taking the opposite approach. They're
yeah,
saying, "Hey, we're gonna do, cheaper car than a Model 3." So who knows what's gonna happen there? But that's the
I
only
agree.
way it's gonna make it financially viable, is to have a low cost for the vehicle itself. And then the other side of the coin is, when it comes down to it, what about liability? That's a huge aspect that's completely untapped and unknown at this point, because where are you going to put the liability? Currently, for a driver, if they fuck up, it's on them. But on
Yeah,
these EVs, who is it going to fall onto? Is it going to fall onto the programming? Is it going to fall onto somebody else? Is it going to fall on the owner of the car? Where's that going to be? Is it all of the parties that are participating within that? Um, who knows?
yeah. No, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of years coming up with all these deals, and we'll see. But we need to get in the game, Chris. We need to get in the game. We need to have skin in the game, sir. That's what we need to do. So
Maybe. We'll
maybe.
see. I still won't ride one. I want a driver. Or actually, I just want to drive myself. Let's be real.
Okay.
Um,
I know you do. Yeah. Yeah.
I like driving more than anything.
Yeah.
Loved it from the moment I started all the way through, and not going to stop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That's true. Well,
all
no,
right.
some people are like that. I don't know.
Speaking of, let's move on. Let's talk about Tesla, as we've mentioned with the Robotaxi and where they're testing in Austin. They're giving a wonderful pictograph of exactly what they are telling the industry. And for those who are watching it, you're probably laughing, and we're going to show it in just a moment. If you have children around, you may not want to watch. You may not want them around, or maybe your passengers, but you'll get a good laugh out of it. So just a pre-warning there.
Yeah.
So this is now their Robotaxi geofence. What does
This
that
is
look like
real,
to you,
folks. This
Sergio?
is real. Okay. This is real. So don't shoot the messenger. Elon has a
Oh,
sense of humor.
it is. I mean, well, think about it. Well, if you look at all of the cars that they produced, why do you have the Model Y? Why do you have the Model S? Why do you have the Model 3? Why do you have the Model X? What does that spell? Sexy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he's definitely done things like that in the past, and it definitely makes sense now, especially now that they've went from the cost of being 420 to 690. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, so one guy said middle finger to all of us. I think that looks a lot different than the middle finger, sir. I think it looks something
Walk
like
tall and carry a big stick.
and this is no joke. This is real. And Elon, with his wisdom, little off the spectrum wisdom, he came up with this geofence. When the geofence wasn't like this, they extended the geofence now. The
Yeah,
geofence was
the,
just
the,
the
the
bottom part.
geofence was
Now
like
they put
from like the top
the
of the
shaft.
tip down, and
Yeah,
then they put the two sides on it in southern Austin.
yeah, yeah. No, Elon, like he did that, and then um, obviously he's competing with Waymo there, and I think Waymo's geofence is pretty much the same as his, but not the shape, obviously. And
No,
I was like chuckling when I saw this, and I go like, yeah, we should put that on facts and funnies, and and I'm like,
well,
yeah,
you know what they say: whoever's got the biggest
uh huh,
makes the rules.
okay. Well, I guess Elon does.
So he laid it out there. He says, Uber, Lyft, Waymo, what you got?
Elon, how many kids does Elon have? Like 12, 14, or something?
35.
Something like that. Just like from like 5, 6 different women.
I think he just
So
had another one too.
it's appropriate, man. Just like the geofence should look like, his unit. So,
You know what though? Here's the thing. If I was in Elon's shoes, I would do the exact same thing.
well,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Who's going to fucking argue with Elon? Even Trump is quitting on Elon now. So I'm like, hey. But anyway, so we thought that was kind of funny, and then hope you guys got a chuckle out of it. So we are at that part of the episode where we're going to talk about this article just dropped. Um,
yep. But before we do,
Before we
if
do,
you
yes,
are
let's look at
yeah,
the
before you do, we do want to kind of talk about this on our driver's segment.
yeah.
So we're going to put the link out now. So if you get that link, you can pull it. If you want to come on the show, we're going to be talking about how to pick cherries in even when there's not really that many cherries that might be picking. So
We have the master
grab the link if
cherry
you want to
picker
come on.
here. We
What's
have
up?
LA's best cherry picker here. I see him, Mr. Gambit. So, Mr. Gambit, grab the link and come on up and give us some advice about how to cherry pick in 2025. Because people
Yep.
go, Sir, how can I pick cherries when there are no cherries? Look, cherry
Oh,
picking
there's
doesn't
always
have to
cherries.
be what you guys think it is. In every city, cherry picking is different. So, I'm telling you guys, first of all, there is no question, unequivocally, no question, that cherry pickers earn more than ants. There's no question about that, statistically and every which way. And so, and they drive less miles. Their dollars per mile is higher. Their dollars per hour is higher. And this is the article that I wrote for our blog. Please go check it out. www.therideshareguy.com. It's free. free newsletter. You'll get my articles. I'm writing more and more now because I'm enjoying kind of writing more. And the art of cherry picking: how smart Uber and Lyft drivers maximize earnings in 2025. So, without going into reading the whole thing, if you want to increase your hourly earnings, reduce stress, and avoid getting burned out behind the wheel, you've got to be thinking like a cherry picker. It's not about accepting every ride, it's about accepting the right ride. In this article, I'll break down exactly what cherry picking means. So, what is cherry picking? Cherry picking is the practice of only accepting trips that are worth your time and trouble. So, folks, you're either one or you're not one. I don't think you can. Well, some people say they're a hybrid depending on the market that they're in. If they're offered, ride challenges or quest and they become ants, they take everything, short ones, whatever. Not. But I thought I put everything I know about cherry picking in this article because we have newbies who read, probably the blog and they go like, they should learn, they should know about this, then they can make their own choice. You can do whatever you want to do. But to me, you must not accept every single trip. So why cherry pick in 2025? Upfront pricing hides the truth, right? Riders pay more, but the drivers often get less than half. Dead miles kill your profits, right? You go on a nature hike, long pickups and long trips, no return. You're a dead man walking, dead man driving, more like it. Surge is less predictable, and time is money. So we'll go to the next one. Smart drivers know the difference between working hard and working smart. So we'll go to the next one, and then we'll have you guys come on and talk about your own cherry picking or anting practices. The tools of the trade. So, one, a good phone mount and dual apps. You must do that because if there is no cherries on one, there may be cherries on the other app. You must,
Mhm.
must dual app, period. Tracking apps like GigU make it easier, or Maximo, right, on Android, help automate acceptance filters and things like that. This is what I did when I first started, Chris. A mental map. I actually went a step further. What I did is I took screenshots every half hour, morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour, weekends, and you just create this model in your head saying that for example, in Santa Monica between 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. is going to surge because surge is not a mythical creature. It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. Patiently, you wait and you will get your cherry. Know your city like a chessboard. Understand which neighborhoods have consistent demand where the money is and where not to get stranded. Suburbs, rural zones, airports with limited return trips. Next one. Um, God, that's small. How cherry pick? Like, okay. So these are some of my guidelines, but again, depending on your city, it'll be different. Set your minimum thresholds. Number two, watch for red flags. What are some red flags? There are some offers you should avoid on site. Trips under 3 or 5. I get a lot of these $3 trips. The reason you don't accept this is because not because 3 to 5 may not be a good trip. It may be just half a mile pickup, half a mile drop off for $3. But you're going to spend 10 minutes doing that. The point is you're missing an opportunity. You're missing the opportunity cost is very high on doing a $3 trip. That's not going to get you anywhere. Okay. Long trips out of town with no return demand. Sketchy areas, we know about that. Riders with 4.6 rating or lower, and shared pool rides. It may be worth it once in a long moon. Number three, use trip radar strategically. Not every trip, as much as I say, where trips go to die. Not every trip, because a lot of stuff now is on trip radar, especially with the standard and advantage. Right? If you're standard, you're going to get nothing but trip radar, and you may have a worthy trip there to do, but only accept trip radar if you're quick enough with the whack-a-mole, to get matched, and chase short trips in high surge zones. I hope you guys are doing that. And so why cherry pick? You make more per hour, you stay close to the action, you avoid long deadhead returns, especially profitable during morning rush, evening commute, weekend nightlife. Next one is okay. Now step five: skip the airport queue. Now we did an article with New York Times how people go wait 4 hours at the airport queue and then potentially get knocked to the back of the grid. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't go wait there 4 hours. Airport rides seem glamorous, but there's strong bonus attached. Or you're going to get a trip, and you at least accept an airport ride to go to a trip so you can get a rematch and come out of it with an airport trip, as opposed to just go to the queue and wait. And is cherry picking bad for your AR? Absolutely, yes, but acceptance rates doesn't matter anymore in most cities anyway. I mean, like 25% threshold, that's not a high bar to jump over. Uber and Lyft cannot deactivate you for low acceptance rate in 2025. And so stop worrying about missing out. Stop worrying about FOMO. There is no FOMO in driving, just like stock trading, or pleasing the algorithm. If the ride doesn't make sense, skip it. And next one. Okay, what about temporarily shadow ban? We know Uber declines it. Uber says they don't do it. They don't throttle you. They do. If you decline a few, that's why you multi-app. You get off Uber for 10, 15 minutes, let the algo reset. In fact, do a force close on your app, and then go clean your cache, by the way. So it forgets about it that you did all these bad things by declining 30 trips in a row. And so that's what you do. So bonus tip. My bonus tip is going to be, a lot of drivers, Chris, use the destination filter to go home at the end of the day, right? They have 2 in one app and 2 on the other app. So you have 4 DFs. What are the odds of you hitting a bullseye? And most of the time, by the way, drivers put a DF right at their house address. For 10 years, I have never put my address as the DF target or as the ending point. I've always put 5 miles ahead or past my house, because then you're giving the algorithm more space to just kind of wiggle itself if it's going to give you trips. But you definitely don't put the bullseye as your house, number one, when you're going home. But more importantly, use the DF if you're in a surge zone, if you're working late at night, if it's buzzing, and if there's a lot of demand. Use your DF in a 3 mile, 4 mile, 5 mile length, pick up and drop off areas, right? And then have the DF keep you there. Forget about it. Just dead mile home at the end of the day. But the amount of money you're going to make in that hot zone, and DF, basically, you're forcing the algorithm to feed you short trips that are beneficial to you. Burn all your DFs. Don't go home with all 4 DFs, or don't go just set the DF and say, okay, I want to go home now, take me home. And then I get an email complaining, oh, I set it to home, but it sent me the opposite direction. Because most people don't even know how to use the DF. There's 2-3 different kinds of DF on the apps. And here it is, last but not least, the mindset of a cherry picker. Cherry picking isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset. You got to have that mindset. And one of the best cherry pickers in Boston is here, and Matt is here, and he cherry picks the F out of it. Okay, so it means acting like a business owner, not a robot on demand. And final word, final sentence of my take is: so drive smart, stay sharp, and never forget you work with the apps, not for them. So articles like this with brilliant freaking tips are in our newsletter now. They have always been, but now I'm writing more and more. So go subscribe to the free newsletter.
Subscribe. Yeah, link for that is in the description, so you can check that out. Definitely good stuff there, Sergio.
Thank you, man.
But biggest thing, the biggest takeaway out of all of that, even if you're going to be an ant or accept everything, you need to know your costs associated with driving. If you don't know your costs, you have no idea what you're doing when it comes down to it. So you need to figure out your costs. You need to understand them and know what it is every time your wheels are moving, how much that's costing you.
Yeah, and we have something coming from Gig U that you free that you guys are going to love. Actually, I worked on it with them last week. Hopefully we'll have it on launch by next week. Chris, you're going to love this shit. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
So this gentleman says, I never saw this. What do you mean? What are you talking about? It's in your app, bro. On the Lyft app, it's on the lower right-hand corner, the 2 lines on the side, and on the Uber app, it's on the upper right-hand corner with the hourglass-looking thing. You got to click on that. Of course, you have 2 on each app. And if you're Diamond or whatever, you get 1 more, I think, on Uber and Lyft. So anyway, yeah. All right. No, come on. Muhammad, not you. Anybody but Muhammad. Yeah.
I'm surprised. What the hell? Nobody came in.
We're
Everybody's like,
waiting,
I don't
folks. Well,
cherry pick.
come on, tell us how you
I just
cherry pick in your city. If you're a
I
cherry picker
accept
or if you're
I
an
accept
ant.
everything. This
Mr.
is brand
Gambit,
new
at
news to
least
me.
you come on and tell us how you do it. Come on, man. Matt, somebody. You're all
What
proud.
happened speaking
Look,
of, what happened to Matt's corner this time?
I didn't find anything this week. But the point is all this, I'm looking at the comments, they all are proud of their 5% ARs, right? So you must be cherry picking. Why don't you come on and tell us what you're doing? Let's go. Grab the link. It's right there. Let's go. Oh, there you go. Takers tokens. We got one.
All right.
All right.
How you doing?
Hi, how are
Hello.
you?
Hey guys. All
Good.
right. Takers tokens. Where are you from? What city are you in? What kind of car you drive? All that good stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got you on the bottom here. It's confusing me.
Okay.
I'm in Chicago and I rent a car through Lyft.
Okay.
I have to because my car died. I pay about $260 for the rental. Um, I have caps on me because I have a disability claim and yada yada.
Okay.
With the cherry picking, I use Lyft because they charge you for personal miles. It's like $25 for 20 miles. So I just figured that out and used that for my. I used the GigU app and
Mm-hmm.
put that minimum in for the mileage. I don't know what to put in for the other ones, but I'd never
Okay.
pick anybody under 4.9. And
How do you like the Gig U app?
it's wonky sometimes. Like I'll
Yeah.
be in the middle of a ride, I'll have the map on, and it'll give me notifications for $494 per hour or
Yeah.
$59 per minute or mile or something, and it's it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times.
It works. I think like 85% of the time it works well, and then it does get confused once in a while. But they're working on it. So when you're cherry picking in Chicago, but you're renting, so you really don't have too much of a choice. But right, you got to take trips to pay for the rental and make some money. So do
Right.
you cherry pick or do you not cherry pick?
Oh, I cherry pick.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how do you do it? How do you do
I
it?
don't. I have a red line for. I don't go south of the 290 corridor because
Okay.
that's a gangland area in some of the sections. Um, I don't go out to the suburbs. I avoid tolls because they they rob us on the tolls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I just kind of figure it out in my head, and I go by like the minutes and the miles.
Do you
Um,
have some sort of a? Do you leave your house with like a daily dollar goal in the morning, or are you a full? I'm assuming you're a full time driver.
Part time.
Part time. Okay. Do you like go? Okay, I'm gonna make $100 today. I can make it in 3 hours, or I can make it in 8 hours, or whatever. Do you go with that mindset out there
It's more of a weekly. It's
weekly?
$350 a week is the max
Okay.
that I can make.
Okay. And what does that make sense mathematically though? Because you have the 250 plus the gas for the car, and you're just basically working to pay off the car, pay for the car.
Essentially, because
Okay,
of the caps that I have for the disability claim, I can't make over $1,600 a month.
I got you.
So I
I got
just divided that and I
Okay.
figured it all out. But
So you just have a car. You're just making sure that the Lyft is paying for the rental of the car. Well, you're driving. You're doing work though. I mean,
right, it gets me out of the house because I was isolated for so long with the back injury
okay,
and I wasn't getting out. So I get out and I'm able to interact with people. I have wheels to get to the doctor appointments because my car died right as I was applying for Uber, and so I needed wheels. So it gives me wheels. It gives me that interaction. It's more of a self satisfying thing for me than it is a moneymaker.
okay, cool. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Stay healthy. Be well. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you. All right, and then we have Mr. Gambit.
Here comes Mr. Gambit.
What's up, guys? You know, I'm going to
He's
show you some palm trees for the guys who don't know what these palm trees look around the country. Here we are. Here's some palm trees in California.
Where are
You
you at,
know
bro?
this. I'm
Where are you
here in
at?
this. I'm in our beautiful city of Inglewood, my man. We know we got
Ah,
palm trees
okay.
everywhere.
Okay.
So what's up there, guys? Now the cherry picking things you got to do. You know for sure when you're doing the cherry picking.
Okay.
Patience is a virtue. Don't never tell yourself, I got to click that thing because somebody's going to get it first. Look at the numbers that you want. I always say, what do I want to get for the trips that I'm going to take? And how much am I going to get for that trip I'm going to take? That means
Okay.
when you do that, you're already in the head of the game saying, I want to get at least 20 bucks for the next trip. And if I can get that 20 bucks in the next 5 to 6 miles, I'll do it. But don't just go, I got to click on a $3 trip. Somebody's going to steal it from me. The minute you start clicking
So,
on those trips,
Mr.
the app,
Gambit,
yeah.
do you agree? Do you agree that when you're doing that $3 trip, you have opportunity cost, right? You may be missing on the $20 trip.
Right, you're going to be missing an opportunity. What happens is, Sergio, they catch you in the boredom moment when they delay your getting trips or getting a good, decent trip. People get bored and they will
Yeah.
click that trip. And I've done that for you. And I'm sure everybody else has done that too. When you're bored, the
Yeah.
app, remember, we're working against an AI that's programmed to know what we want and
Yeah.
says, okay, he wants that bigger trip. Well, let's give him this one here and see will he take it. And if you
Yeah.
take that little one, they're going to send you more of those. The more of those you get, whether it be day or night. You're talking to a guy who's worked that 24-hour cycle morning, noon, and night. Just like you said, you got to know that at times when it surges, even when they don't want to surge it, they got to surge it. And they can't play with the federal ground. Remember, the airports are federal grounds. You can't stall thousands of people while they try to take the most money for those trips. When they do it at the airport, they know for sure some of these trips got to be priced right to get these people from waiting around there. When they play that game of stalling people at the airport, you'll see people complaining, waiting for 45 minutes to an hour to get a trip
Yeah.
because they run out of ants at the airport. That's when they got to price it right, or you strand trips. When guys who know how to make money, they wait and get the right amount of money of $2 to $3 per mile to do that trip. If you concentrate like that and get back to the airport, you make money. But at the minute you start telling yourself, I'll go this 10 miles for, $10 and it takes me 45 minutes, they know they got a sucker already. And
Yeah.
then if you
Well,
keep
I
doing
mean, look,
that,
I consider you the premier cherry picker in Los Angeles because I know you and I've seen enough of your screenshots. Um, Tell me, is there any? I mean, I read some of the article, but
mhm.
give us some tips about cherry picking in general in Los Angeles. Look, every city is different, first of all, right?
Well, yeah,
But
every city it is
I
different.
want to I want to ask this question that gets asked me a lot, right?
Okay,
Lately, anyway, it's at least last year or so.
okay.
They go, Serge, if there are no cherries to pick, what cherry picking are you talking about? Can you
Well,
answer that?
well, remember this. This is the key to knowing when you don't think there's a cherry pick and you don't see a radar on your screen and you don't see the price jump up on your screen, don't forget, guys, the cherry's still there. The
Yeah,
companies just take the cherries from you and you don't know it's because you get used to taking the garbage trip. You think, I'm in a busy area, I should get this cherry. Wait a minute, the prices are being, cut. And then why don't you just pretend you're the person getting the ride and you click on your thing and say, let me get me a ride going from, let's say, from downtown, Torrance, going to the crypto.com arena. That means
yeah,
you know what it normally pays, and a standard normal pay is anywhere from $45 to $65. But Uber tries to get that $32 and pay a driver maybe 26 or 25. Well, that customer will always pay that 65 to 75 to up to $100 sometime.
yeah,
You may not know this, but this is a price Uber knows and it's already programmed in the pie. The minute you say, I'm going to take it for this price, I don't care what Uber makes, who cares what Uber makes, but you know what you make. And once you tell yourself, I got to make this at this busy time because I'm dealing with LA traffic. You can't play a game with this traffic telling yourself, I'm going to take this low cost ride when you know you may be stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. The minute
yeah,
you take that $27 ride, that means you're going to make $27 in an hour and a half. So the
yeah,
minute you just look at the number and not the time, you're already the sucker that they want you to drive. They said,
yeah,
look, if you don't went down and got stuck in this traffic, they don't care. I can tell you for sure, from Santa Monica to downtown rush hour every day, it takes an hour and a half to get downtown at five
yeah,
o'clock. The
yeah,
minute you say, I'll take this little 16-mile trip for $22 and Uber's going to charge 65, you're doing the trip for 22. Uber's going to take 65, and
yeah.
that's why you're already losing the game the minute you come out and says, I'll sit in traffic for an hour and a half for $22. And
Right.
that's the
And
game.
what is your? And you don't have to give up obviously your secrets, but what is your um thresholds for accepting trips? Do you go by the hour? Do you go by, by the
When you do
mile? And what do you
when
do?
you're doing it right, a 20 hour maximum drive time per week, you should average $44 to $52 per hour.
Okay.
That's a fair amount you can try to earn with 20 hours in a week. When you tell yourself, let them average me down to 18. Remember, you got costs on your car. The minute you're driving for that $18, that means half of that money could be going to the car and a
Yeah.
maintenance cost or something. That means you're already suckered out of the money. And they know that. And some guys get suckered out of the money. Trust me, I'm a guy. I've taken that. I've taken this test for you. So if you want to test it yourself, try doing it all day and see if you get suckered into 18 bucks an hour. Because they'll
Yeah.
say all day you're going to be making 32, but you know what you're making. Don't be a sucker and think that you're making 32. When they basically get you in the game and you're making 18 bucks, you're not making 32 no matter what they say on the app. And say
Well,
all our
so
drivers make 32.
I'm glad you're here because I get asked a lot of these questions. Like the resistance that I get from cherry
Right.
picking, they go, look, man, I'm only driving for 20 hours a week. I gotta make money. I can't just sit in my car and pick my nose and decline 10 to make one. What do you say to those people? And which I do understand the question, by the way. I'm like, it's valid.
Well, okay, Sergio, when they're asking that, that's the desperation in the world we live in today.
Okay.
Between tariffs, things costing more, just the inflation itself. Not everybody sees the inflation, but when you know it's costing you more to go get a burger or go get a hot dog or something, that means you got to factor that in of your day and saying, well, all right, what am I making? It
Yeah.
just costs more to do business some places, and that in LA it costs us more all the time. I've been
Yeah.
here a long time. It costs us more just to operate, and you can't go 1 mile by that. It costing you something somewhere. So the minute you tell yourself, I'll just do whatever because I got to put food on the table. Yeah, I understand that. Now remember when this all started, years ago, and I've been with them for over 10 years. When this started years ago, the fares were up and they were exploring. This was all investment dollars. Now they're looking at taking care of the stockholders. And the reason they don't talk about us drivers anymore is because they don't care. They've already factored in if we got 8 million drivers we don't have to care about.
Yeah.
Nowhere. So in our
Okay.
world, we want to care about those robots. And when the robots basically take over enough of the runs, especially the cheap runs, they're looking at a profit margin. That's why we're not spoke of, and they're all thinking. I'm still surprised why the lawsuits are still coming. They know they've been doing us wrong, and this is what's still been happening, man. Is that they get away with it, nobody does anything. It's like, okay, if we
Yeah.
don't pay the driver nothing and he's breaking even, so what? He's a nut who took it. We didn't make him. Remember what even our old CEO said that we didn't force you to take the trip. Nobody told you to go buy the limo car. You're right. Nobody, everybody got to know when you buy the big car, it's
Yeah.
costing you, and that Uber or nobody else is buying that car for you. You're paying for that car. You're taking
Yeah.
care of that car. They know that already. So basically, you got to take it upon yourself to say, all right, let me pick the best times to work. And people go, I can't work at drive. I don't work the drunk hours. Well,
Yeah.
shoot, I'm working the drunk hours because I always when finally Jay came on and said, I'm working the drunk hours now, and you get paid more. Sergio, he didn't tell me nothing new. I knew the drunk hours paid 35 to 45% more because that's when it paid more and surged. Basically, it took a
Well,
lot of
but
people working those
that's the thing,
hours.
though. But that's the thing, Uber sells it as flexibility and freedom and this and that. There
Right.
is no
That's right.
flexibility and freedom. You gotta fucking go where the shit is at.
Right.
Otherwise, you're
Right.
gonna make 18 and Prop 22
Sergio,
money, and that's about it.
I've told you, I worked from down this all the way to San Diego to Santa Barbara to Forest San Bernardino, Sergio. I worked 24-hour cycles back before they were clocking and making all the drivers work. I would put that 16-hour day in and see where's the money. Tell me what night is the money on. I used to go to Orange County every day on a Disneyland trip from Venice that
Yeah.
always paid 65 to $75 for the driver.
Yeah.
And Uber basically sometimes barely made anything like a few dollars off of that. That same trip, Sergio, they will sing, and they don't care what time. That same trip to Disneyland during the day can be $32. Who's going to Disneyland taking someone
Yeah.
from LA for $32? It's like, what the hell are they thinking? Who's on crack taking
Yeah.
these trips for $32? And people who
Uh,
just come on the platform, they be doing that, and they're taking advantage of them. That's what I
yeah.
mean. That when you cherry pick, you have to start with the thought of, I need to pick the best trips for today. And you're only going to get 7 to 12 good, juicy trips. You may take 15, you may take 20, but you want to get 7 to 10 that are paying decent to give you enough money to make it for the day. The minute
Yeah.
you jump in the game and you don't make that, and you say, damn, I worked all day long and I barely got, $110. But
Yeah.
Uber and that platform, when you look at what the cost, remember that they took away us looking at the trips, but you look at the trips when you log in the app. Look in the app and take a look at your trips when the day's over, and you'll see what the company took in. Now, the way they get away with this, we're talking about that insurance thing, Sergio. Remember that
Yeah.
They take all the insurance and make the trip worth the insurance costs, and we're not taking anything. The insurance is taking all the money. So if they did that and get away with it, I don't know the law like they did. I mean, they can pass whatever thing they want to inside the map. All we care about is what we put in our pockets. So with them charging as much as they want to and they calling it an insurance, I'm like, well, if they're charging more insurance for me to do the trip, you're basically saying take the trip at your cost, and we're going to put all this money in insurance. Uber's not going to make anything, but you're going to make $5, and insurance going to be $15. I
Yeah.
still don't understand the math on that.
Yeah. No, well,
When it,
we're working on that part, but no, I mean, seriously, you know, you're an amazing driver, obviously, and you know this inside out. And I think the desperation part plays a big role in it with what you said. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, Sergio, remember that. Let's not cut out. Remember, they got an influx of come on to America. The door is open. Come get a green card and drive. Now, that aspect of that hit every inch of Uber's world in this country. Every city got people that came from somewhere else that could get a green card. And even when they had another job, they could still come out and drive. That helped the platform tremendously when you can come and get a green card and drive. That means as long as you specify that you're coming here and there's some harm in your country, they will give you that green card to work. And what do you think? Uber, open arms, go rent a car, come lease a car, come take a car and drive, and put 3 or 4 people in your family to do it with you. And that
yep,
just increased the size of their platform. And that's why when you talk to them and they go, Alec, they don't care. Well, Sergio, look at the numbers they got. Why should
yeah,
they? People were
yeah.
coming on this platform and it's doing the work and says, well, if they're doing the work, we're not going to say anything. And
Yeah.
nobody says anything, and it just happens like, okay. And that's why the math, in America, we basically look at jobs and say, okay, can I make money doing this? If I can't, I got to take a break. And then you're talking to a
Okay,
guy
so
who's
what do you
taking a
think?
break
What,
now.
let's finish it on this note. What do you
Okay.
think? What do you think? Is cherry picking in 2025 still valid, and should still people do it, or should people just
Oh,
take everything and go home?
I'll break it down for you clearly. It's worth it for you if you got the beater car that's good quality, a good quality beater car that you got paid for, that you get to cherry pick and not have to pay for that car and not have to have a heavy amount of insurance that you're dealing with. That means
Okay.
if you are dealing with a crazy insurance and you're a bad driver and it costs you too much, that means for sure you put yourself in a position that you're not going to make money in this business, find something else to do. But if your
Yeah.
car is paid for, you get the cherry pick and not, and that's what I mean too, Sergio. When I was leasing that car, remember some of the trips I had to take even late night that they got me on. They would have trips going to downtown where during the day it would be $45, $50. And late night, they say, well, look, we got drivers here. And the desperate black car drivers and limo drivers and whatever, they're taking trips in downtown for $20 and $18 in the
Yeah.
middle of the night. And I knew the game changed then. They said, look, they know God's got to pay for these cars. And we're going to give them every little penny we can. Let's let them pay for a
Yeah.
car. But we're going
Yeah.
to take the bulk of the money. And that happened. That changed the game. That means that they're not worrying about their numbers. And when you quote, you're good at the financials of looking at when they say, look at what they gross, this quarter. That lets
Yeah.
me know, damn, if they gross a lot, I'm not the only guy they're doing it to. It's millions of guys across the
Oh,
world and
absolutely.
country that is
Yeah.
happening. It's like, what do we do? All we can do is make the money when we can. You can't force it. That means you go get a brand new car. That means you got to pay for that car. I was just lucky to be in a car and and even tried to rent them. Told them that, look, you can't just rent a car for $450 to $500 a week and give $3 trips all day and night long. The math, tell me somebody who can do math in this room right now and make that work in a week. I can't. I still can't. Don't know how to do
Well,
it.
so Mr. Gambit, let's do this. Do you want to do a behind the wheel? Because there was one audience member said Mr. Gambit should do a behind the wheel, right?
I
And
got you.
and number.
Well, I tell you what, Sergio, let's talk about this in the next month. We'll come down and do lunch. I'll do behind the wheel with you next month. We'll do that.
Okay, well,
Let's
no,
get it out
that's
into that.
it's going to be on Zoom. We'll do lunch anyway, and
Okay, we're
then
doing
the
Zoom.
other
Okay.
audience member said if Mr. Gambit wrote a book, I would buy it. There you
I
go.
know, see, I know, man. See, Sergio, I help a lot of guys out doing this. Believe it or not, I see guys at the airport. I see guys even getting gas at the gas station. And I go, especially when I see somebody who barely speaks English, I said, do you take all your trips? And they go, yes, I take all the trip. They look at me like I've said something wrong where they don't know they can't even take all their trips, dude. I go, what the fuck? I'm, I'm
What's wrong with you? You take all the. What's wrong with you? You cherry pick. What are you doing?
right. Right. That's what I'm saying. They go, yes. They go, you don't take all the trips. They look at me like surprising. I was like, well, no, you got to pick the better trips. They looked at me like I was speaking a different foreign language. Like,
Yeah,
dude, you don't take all the
you're
trips. Like, what are you
you're an
doing, man?
alien, bro. You can't decline trips. You got to take all those trips for those Uber Pro points and all that good stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But remember, Sergio, there was a time, dude. They gave at 75 trips. That was, keep in mind we had a different CEO at that time, but there was a $500 bonus, a 6-pack. No, they had a case of Red Bull and Subway sandwich cars. They would bring us over here to Westwood, and that's the thing they would do to us to keep us driving. To say, look, go to Subway, eat those sandwiches, and drink this Red Bull, and keep
Yeah,
driving. And those
yeah,
days are long gone, man. They're never coming
yeah.
back, I don't think.
No, those days are definitely gone. Well, so listen, we will do the behind the wheel
Okay,
next
buddy.
month as you wish,
Yeah.
because I think you have a lot to add to to the color of what's going on, because you're on the streets, you know what's happening,
But that's what
and
I'm saying. And we talked about EVs, Sergio. Remember, we talked about the EVs. Remember, I told you that. I sent you that picture of I'm in Beverly Hills at a traffic
yeah,
light, 4 in the morning for a reservation. Not making much money, but it was a good little $37, $40, pickup drop off at the airport. I'm
yeah,
working that like no big deal. I pull up to the intersection right there on Beverly, Road Base, Pico, and Rodeo, right there at the cross light, where all those lights and everything are. I pulled there. There's 7 Waymos, not one other human driver there, just me and those Waymos. It was a creepy
wow,
kind of thing I'm looking at. I'm like, I'm now here trying to make a few bucks, and these things, all they got to be is charge up and keep working. I got to go home and rest in a little while, and these guys are out here just got to be plugged up. And it was scary then. This was about 6 months ago. That was a scary time. I said, this is really scary. If I would have filmed that right there, it would have been like a movie scene. Like here's a human driver pulling up with all the robot cars, and this is
I
what
agree.
this is what the world we come in. And I think Eddie, whatever they're doing that in Austin right now, and I
Yeah,
feel sorry for
yeah,
my man down there dealing with that. I
yeah. No,
know.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
All
But
right, guys, but it's good talking
I
to
have
you.
some plans for that. You'll just stay tuned. But anyway,
Okay, I got you, buddy. Have a
all
good one,
right. Good
guys.
to see
Keep
you.
doing
Be
what you're
safe
doing.
out
All right.
there. We'll
All righty.
chat again.
Okay, take care. All righty. Cool.
Bye bye.
All right.
All right, thanks. Bye.
There you go. That's the premier cherry picker in Los Angeles. Let me tell you that. Okay. So nobody else. Okay, cool. All right. So let's finish it off.
Moral of the
Let's
story is cherry pick.
you have to cherry
And
pick. I mean, if you want to lose money, if you think this is charity, if you think this is public transportation, if you think this is some sort of whatever, do what you need to do. Look, I mean, everybody does whatever they want to do, but um, you need to just look out for yourself. You can't, like I said in the last sentence of the article, you can't work for. You're not working for the apps. You're not. You're working for yourself.
Hmm.
So, it's your choice. Do whatever you want to do. Oh, we
we
got
got
one
one
more.
more person.
Okay, we got one more.
How you
Hey,
doing?
sir. Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Good, good. I don't know, man. Cherry picking, I've tried it. When you sit for an hour not getting nothing but $3, I don't know how you cherry pick from garbage.
Well, what? Okay, what city are you in?
In the worst city in town, LA. This is what I
Okay.
look. This is, I'm sure you've seen this. This is what LA.
Yeah, that's not that accurate. But let's do this. Let's do this.
You don't think this is accurate?
Not 100%. But that's not the point. The point is this. So I asked this to the previous driver. I said, if there are no cherries to pick, how can you cherry pick? Right? Right? It makes sense. And unfortunately, if you think like what time was and what day of the week was it? What time was that when you were just sitting there for an hour and taking getting $3 chips? What time of the day was it?
Well, I've noticed the San Fernando Valley is a tough place to be, and I have to work my way down to LA.
I live in Granada Hills. I know the San Fernando Valley like the back of my hand. Okay, San Fernando Valley is the worst place to be. Worst place to drive rideshare. Number one. Number two. You know how I drive? I grab myself a scheduled trip or a reserve trip or get my ass off at 4:30 in the morning. I want to be at LAX by 6, and there are plenty of people going to LAX at 4:30. I get my ass up. If I don't have a reserve trip, turn the app on. You're getting whatever trip they're paying you. You just want to go into the city, and you want to be around Santa Monica. You want to be around Marina del Rey. You want to be around Culver City when busy hour is kicking in. If you're in the San Fernando Valley looking for trips, all you're going to get is those car dealership trips for $3 and $4. And if you're in the San Fernando Valley past 6 o'clock, you're a dead man because 405 South is dead. Any trip you get after that, it's a parking lot. So trust me, I've done this for a while. And if you're like right now, okay, where in the San Fernando Valley are you?
No, I live far. I just drive through. I try to get to LA, going through the valley. Unfortunately, try
Okay,
to like make it.
where do you live? Where do you live?
I live up in by Santa Clarita.
Okay, Santa Clarita, perfect trip. Plenty of people going from Santa Clarita to LAX in the mornings, but you need to get on early. Now, when Uber tells you, "Oh, turn the app on, you'll make $30 an hour," it's bullshit. You're not going to make any kind of money. And for a fact, Santa Clarita is only like 7 miles north of me. It's actually, Santa Clarita surges a lot more on the weekends than it does in Granada Hills or anywhere else in the valley or Sherman Oaks. So your market actually is not that bad. It's that the time you're out there is bad. The time you're out there, like if you're right now in Santa Clarita at 4:30, you turn your app on, you're not going to get any pings. But get your ass up at 4:30, turn your app on, no destination filter. You're going to catch a trip going to LAX, and now you're in the city. Work the shift between 6 and 10 a.m. That's your morning shift, split shift, and then take a couple hours off because you're not going to get back there. Now, if you want to get back to Santa Clarita with no traffic at that hour, cherry pick now a trip that's going your direction. You can piece it together. Don't use your destination filter because they won't send you there. But there is a rule for this. There is I don't believe that when people say, "I'm sitting here, I'm only getting $3 trips," I mean, that means you're out at the wrong time of the day. I'm not blaming you. Maybe you don't know. But I'm telling you, I'm doing like a coaching session here with you. If you want to make money, you got to work when and where there is demand. When there is no demand, when it's 2 in the afternoon in Santa Clarita or 2 in the afternoon in Granada Hills, I can turn my app on. I will not get one ping for like 2 hours, let alone $3 ping. I won't. So, you got to work when and where there is demand, and you got to position yourself correctly. Like, where do you want to be when? You want to be going to LAX early trip. Take a coffee, take your coffee, go to Marina, park, relax, have your coffee, chill out, wake up, hit the morning rush hour, Santa Monica, never go back to LAX. All these rules, there are all these rules that you need to know. This all comes with experience, obviously, but I'm giving you my playbook. Okay.
Well, last night, what is the minimum fare in LAX? I think it's like $12.
$3 or some shit. I don't know.
No,
Who
no,
knows?
LAX did. They
Oh,
give you like
LAX is 12. It's 12.
yeah. At 2 a.m., they sent me $12 for 22 miles going to Van Nuys. They know
Okay.
I want to get back north, so they hit you hard, even though I didn't have my destination on.
Well, here's another point. 2 a.m. at LAX, I wouldn't get caught dead at 2 LAX. I'll be in Hollywood doing drunk trips if I'm going to make some money, because that's the bar hours. The last trip, by the way, the last flight that comes into LAX is at like 2:30, and then between 2:30 and 5:30, the lot is closed. There is no planes coming in. Why am I even at LAX at 2:30 in the morning? That means you didn't plan it correctly. You didn't end up correctly at where you need to end up.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up there by, it wasn't, I didn't plan it, honestly, but there were a lot of late flights coming. That's why I hung out, I stayed there. I said, maybe I'll catch
Okay.
some.
Well,
But
okay.
they hit you with $12 going to
Yeah,
Van
because
Nuys from.
look, because there's so many drivers at that time over there that you're lucky you got hit with $12. So what I'm telling you, Lair, is that you live actually in a good area. So read that article and figure out what I said in that article. And please read that. It's on our website, right? It's free. Go follow some of those rules. I think you will make so much more money. You know what I mean? So much more. So anyway, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, and I hope one time you'll do a call in regarding how the pickups are, how we're scammed. By the way, especially like at events, you go to SoFi, they send us pickup zone at Kareem Court inside a gated community. So you
Never,
go there,
never do pickups inside their geofence area. Ever, never.
or like Dodger Stadium, same thing. You go there and you're far away from the
You're
pin. They
dead
put the
man.
pin.
You're a dead man walking. You go to Dodger Stadium to do a pickup in the lot. You're a dead man. I would never do that. I'd rather be parked on Sunset and doing my thing. I would never do any of that stuff. All the stuff that they want you to do. Remember the last line of my article I read. You don't work for the apps. You do what you want to do. You don't drive the way they want you to drive. If you do, you're going to end up where you are. You drive the way you want to drive. That's it. That's it. No ifs, no buts about it.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Great
All
show.
right.
Thank
Take care, bro. Take care. Be safe out there.
you. Bye.
Right.
That was a good coaching session.
Was.
Yeah, man. Because
All
man,
right.
he's in a good area, bro. I actually see Santa Clarita from where I'm at. I flipped the app on, and like Friday night at 11 is fucking blood red. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like people go like, just put it here, put it here. I'm like, bro, it's not going to work like that. What are you doing at LAX at 2 a.m? There's no planes coming in. What are you doing? You know, get your butt out of bed at 4 a.m, grab yourself a trip, go to LAX, have your coffee, hit the zone between Santa Monica, Culver City, you know, don't go. I mean, all these rules that you need to fucking know. If you don't know, then you're going to sit and complain. And I'm like, well, you know, that's it. I wrote the book of this shit, bro. Anyway, fuck it.
Yep. All right. Any last words there, Sergio?
No, man, no. We're gonna be back next week. Hopefully we'll have that from Gig U for you guys. Man, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's beautiful. It really is. So I'm pumped up to put it up and have you guys benefit from it. You guys are gonna benefit from it, right? But no, it's email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. You want to do a behind the wheel? We're gonna do one. Go subscribe to the article. Go subscribe to my finance channel. You freaking will learn a shit ton free. Like Matt says, free alpha for you guys on that channel. And but anyway, so that's it.
All right. Well, with that being said, have a great rest of your night. We'll see you guys next week. Be safe and get out there and make some money.